Hey, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another segment of what we call Saturday Morning Cartoons. I am one of the co-hosts for this show, Mark B. Lee, and of course with my lovely, favorite, fantastic people, Rosemary Rose there, and of course you'll see Jerome there. Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, just making sure that we're all on here, and as you guys know, if we do not have technical difficulties during this show, it is not a show. Right now, I'm only seeing Jerome's face, which is not something I just want to see.
Hey.
And I'm trying to get all of us in a box in a square. I don't know why it's not allowing us to do that.
Good morning, Susie. Good morning, Paul, and good morning, Terry.
Yay! Hey, hold on. Maybe it's because of this. Yes, I'm so stupid. Oh, my God.
I'm glad you said it, not me.
Modern technologies. When aliens come down to this planet to personally meet me, they're going to ask, well, what is it you know, Mark?
No. I figure we can stop the alien invasion just by letting you get hold of the control system. So there.
Look, I'm gonna tell. Hey, man, I can draw lovely houses. Oh, really? All kind of houses. Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's take him home and see what he can do. Just as long as he doesn't host any shows. Susie is back. Look at that, guys.
Susie,
I saw that.
Oh my God,
Susie's been busy on Facebook. I've been on her page. She's been busy.
I know. I've been seeing Susie and my other girlfriend right here is Cheryl. She's up and running.
Good morning, Cheryl. Good morning, Susie.
Oh, here's the other thing, though, and I tell this to people all the time. I said, if aliens wanted to invade this planet, all they need to do is to win. Is to destroy all the Starbucks first.
No, because up here in New England, we'd have no problem with that.
Oh, well, that's interesting because I just don't drink. I won't say I don't drink coffee, but it would be a rarity for me to drink coffee.
For up here, you have to destroy all the Dunkin' Donuts. Okay, because it's
weird.
It's you know how at Starbucks you have one right across the street from each other.
Yes.
You know? Right.
Dunkin' Donuts is actually more along at a four-way intersection. You have one on each corner.
Oh,
in Massachusetts, right? You don't give directions like normal people. You go, okay, so I want you to go up this road past 3 Dunkin' Donuts. On the 4th Dunkin' Donuts, you take the left, and then you go 2 more Dunkin' Donuts and take the right. And at that next Dunkin' Donuts, I want you to park there because we're right next door to it.
I would have threw my hands up in the air and headed for the airport. Simple.
We actually had to do that with one of our technicians one year to get him to where he needed to go, and we did it through Dunkin' Donuts, and that's been the running gag up here for years now.
Yeah, that's incredible.
That's pretty. Rose, what's good in your life right now? Just talk a little bit here in chat while I gear up everything.
There's not too much good. So, I've been dealing with a lot of frustrating things.
God.
I will tell you. I helped my daughter get supplies last week for her bridge that she had to make in engineering, and she was really stressed out about it. And her team got a 90%. So I'm really happy about that.
See, sometimes you people can stress out over absolutely nothing.
A bridge?
Oh yeah. It was a bridge that they had to make with just balsa wood and paper clips, and that's all the materials they could use.
Wait a minute. Was it a bridge too far?
I was waiting for you to do that one.
I was going to say a bridge to nowhere.
Okay.
Wait a minute, Mark. Was it in Brooklyn?
Oh my God. Oh no. Hey, I know how to play poker, but not bridge.
Oh God,
it's terrible.
It's gonna be puns all morning.
Oh my God. You guys can stop us anytime because Rose started this crap. All right.
Yeah, we had to blame Rose.
You couldn't say snail. I can't come up with many things about snail because I'm slow.
Yeah, you're leaving a slime trail wherever you go.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Today's show, guys, believe it or not, as the hello to everyone that's popping up right now. Garrett, Deanna, I just saw you guys last weekend, which was a joy and a pleasure. Garrett.
Good morning, Warren, on my watch party.
Yes. Oh,
Publisher Warren. He's a publisher, a friend of mine.
Oh, excellent. I love people that can write or publish writers.
Oh, he's been great for years. I was one of his first customers.
Really? Well, I got a book of puns, buddy, anytime you're ready. So not that I'm trying to book anything immediately.
Oh, man. Man, what did he have for breakfast?
It's the weather. It's the weather down here.
It's the weather.
It's the weather.
Floridians cannot go outside today. Okay.
Oh.
No, but guess what? The stupid tourists are getting splattered, and I'm loving it. But anyway.
Yeah, it's downpouring again
Frank.
here now.
Oh my God, guys!
My heart just bleeds for you guys.
Well, we call this liquid sunshine because we really worship rain. We love rain. We love it when it rains. You know, sunshine every day. You wake up in the morning, you got to open up the drapes, and you go, "Damn it!" You know, so. This is a change for us, you know. We really like it, and every time we have hurricanes, we really like it, you know. So
no, you're going too far. Too far.
Okay, hold on. I'll change that. Those that are not affected by the path of a hurricane really like it. You know? So, sorry.
Sage nailed us good.
Just call him Butter. He's on a roll. Oh my God!
Sage, all right. Point.
That was a good one. I guess I owe you some bread.
Good morning, Sonia.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, we'll stop and we'll go on with our show. Right now,
sure,
okay?
we will.
If you guys did not see that we are saluting Daws Butler, there are a number of voice actors that people are familiar with. You know, as soon as you say your name, especially like Mel Blanc, you know, as soon as you say Mel Blanc, you know, you automatically think of Bugs Bunny, Porky Pig, Daffy Duck, and things of that nature. But Daws Butler, who the hell is Daws Butler? Well, you have heard of Daws Butler. So let me tell you a little bit about Daws Butler. Born in 1916, he was an American voice actor. He worked mostly for the Hanna-Barbera animation production company, where he originated the voices of many familiar characters, including Loopy De Loop, Wally Gator, Yogi Bear, Hokey Wolf, Elroy Jetson, Quick Draw McGraw, Snagglepuss, and Huckleberry Hound. He later teamed up with a bunch of other people, specifically, we know this guy, and I just blanked out on him. Not Daws, Messick, Dan Messick, that's the name that I'm thinking of. And those guys got to voice a lot of characters that we all know and love. One of the freakiest, and I think we're going to get to that point, one of the freakiest characters, and I say freakiest because it freaks me out every time I hear the voice, is a little penguin called Chilly Willy. And I don't know if a lot of people remember Chilly Willy, but it freaks me out listening to this thing, okay? So at some point, we're going to talk about Chilly Willy. And of course, you guys know Woody Woodpecker and things of that nature. So Daws Butler is our focus for today.
Well, I got to say about Daws, you know.
Go ahead. Hold on. Let me put you up on screen. Go ahead. Keep talking. Don't stop.
If you look at the range of voices that he did, I mean, he's up there with Mel. You know.
Yes.
He was. You know, because if you listen, like, Elroy and Yogi are kind of got the same tone, but then you listen to like Huckleberry Hound, you've got Snagglepuss, the voice range of this guy was amazing.
Yes, okay. It was very amazing. And a lot of things. Oh, hey, good morning, Curtis. How you doing? Chilly Willy used to come on after Woody Woodpecker. Damn, Curtis, you're not that old, man. Come on, you're still a kid. How the hell you know that? You're not that old, dude. Oh, I know Black Don't Crack, but anyway. So the characters, guys, you remember Aesop's son and Aesop and Son on the Rocky and Bullwinkle show. He was his son on that.
That explains the horrible puns you're doing this morning.
Hey, they're not horrible. They're not horrible. You know, I control the buttons. You understand that, right? Okay. All right. You guys remember Augie Doggie, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, now you remember what was the name of Quick Draw McGraw's sidekick?
Baloo?
Close.
Banjo Baloo?
Now you just making things up.
I remember when he was the superhero.
Quick Draw McGraw's sidekick's name was Babalooey.
Babalooey, that's right. You mentioned that in the previous show.
That's close.
Curtis, VHS tapes.
Yeah. Here's something rare that a lot of people didn't know: that Daws Butler, in the Flintstones pilot, which was not called the Flintstones. Anybody know what it was called? Bueller?
Flagstones.
Oh, ding, 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 ding. Good job. He voiced Barney Rubble.
Yes.
Okay, so he voiced Barney Rubble, and people are coming up with answers on the Babalooey. Good job, Jill. Good morning, Jill. Nice to see you. Curtis says that, well, basically, the answer to Curtis's or my question about you weren't even born yet, yada, 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 was he had VHS tapes. So he is old enough to know what VHS tapes were, so that's pretty good.
I want to say good morning to Sue, who just joined us, and same with Carl.
Sweet Sue. No, that's a different song. Anyway, he was also more well-known, in my personal opinion, he was probably more well-known as the voice of Elroy Jetson, like we had said before. A lot of people did not know that he was the voice of Elroy Jetson, but I think one of his characters that literally brought him fame and glory was Yogi Bear, being one, and of course Huckleberry Hound. I happen to have loved Huckleberry Hound.
I love
Huckleberry Hound was. I love the fact that he was always trying to sing.
Skip to the Loo, Mike. No,
Darling Clementine.
Darling Clementine.
Darling Clementine.
Yes, and a lot of people also don't realize that Daws Butler was the first original for decades voice of Captain Crunch.
Yes.
Okay, and we talk about Captain Crunch. Yes, voice of Captain Crunch.
Yes,
hey, I bought a box of Crunch Berries yesterday. So,
I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, I haven't had them. I was going to be my breakfast this morning, but I forgot. Anyway, so good morning, everybody that's saying good morning. Wow, good to see you guys. Thanks for the hi there, Jill.
Thanks for everybody for showing up this morning. We really love you guys in the Cartoon Crew.
Absolutely.
Hey, now this is where I need you guys to put your finger in your mouth, way back into your throat, because Daws Butler was also the voice of Scooby-Dum. Do you remember Scooby-Dum?
I like
great.
Scooby-Dum.
Now I got to go drink.
That should be a drinking game. Any show that we do that we have to relate Scooby to, we should drink. You know?
Yeah, well, we
wouldn't be able to make it through the show.
We'll be drunk in minutes. You're right. We'll be drunk in minutes. You also know that Daws Butler was the voice of Wally Gator. You guys.
Yes, I loved Wally Gator.
I did too. One of the things. Oh man, I don't have that.
You know what? The opening to Wally Gator is fabulous.
The opening to Wally Gator.
Have you seen it? Just watch it. It's hysterical.
I thought I was humming it just then. Not
yeah.
Wally Gator. No, or is that Yogi Bear? I don't even remember anymore. But Wally is also well known for, and I did not put that up yet. Well, we're going to have to bypass that until I get it ready, because I don't want to tell you guys this as of yet. Lippy the Lion and Loopy De Loop. Do either one of you remember those two cartoon characters?
No.
Lippy the Lion and Loop De Loop. If you guys in the cartoon,
I think so.
I'll show you. You'll know in a minute. And you guys in the cartoon crew room there, if you remember Loopy De Loop, please tell me. Let me go ahead and put something up for you guys right now, if you don't mind. So what is it about Daws Butler, as I do this, guys, that you remember more specifically than anything that I have shown?
Rose, you want to go first?
Well, I mean, what I didn't know in looking at Daws Butler was this the vast amount of voices that he did.
Yes.
And to me, I mean, everybody knows Mo Blanc. Nobody really knows who Daws Butler is. So I'm glad that we're doing this episode today. And I hope that, people have a new appreciation for him after this episode.
Excellent.
Yeah,
I
have to agree with the variety. When we started doing the research on the show, the amount that I was coming up with, I was stunned at how much work this guy had done. And quite frankly, I was impressed. And we've covered a lot of people,
Yeah, Yep, agreed. Let's go ahead and spend a short 2 minutes or so, and let's look at literally the voices of Daws Butler. You guys enjoy this for a bit here. It's coming.
Famous last words.
Don't worry about me, boo-boo. As long as I land on my head, I'll be okay.
Gosh, Yogi, what a fancy restaurant.
It's the best in Paris, boo-boo. The chef is famous for his filet mignonis. But hark! Or is it hurt? The cage door is open. Ajar even. What a chintzy outfit. Can't even afford a lock. So exit. Stage left.
That delicious chocolatey crunch mixed with crunchy crunch, part of this complete breakfast, is for us to enjoy. Right, Dave? Yeah. Bad call there, Dave.
Where's my chocolate crunch, Captain?
It's, in here.
I remember Peter
I'm
Potamus.
use my secret weapon, the hippo hurricane.
I don't hear anything.
Howler.
I hear it.
No, not your hippo
That's weird.
howler.
Okay. You guys do hear all of this, right?
Yes.
Let's cut this short, Pixie. Right, Pixie.
Yow! I hate
That's
you
dangerous.
pieces to pieces.
Mises.
We just gotta do something about that cat.
There we go. It's Draw McGraw.
Kabong! Kabong!
El Kabong.
Kabongs are thick as flies around here.
Kabong!
Hey, watch it. Will you, Quick Straw?
I was overcome by a kabongin' frenzy.
That $500 sure come in handy, too, 'cause I left the meter running all night. $450 worth. Ain't that a scream?
And that should be the end of it. So as you can see, all the characters are, and that's just a small handful.
I love some of those characters, man. Those are great.
Exit Stage Right is a classic.
It was, I always loved how he's acting like he's a director in a theater, and then he was, the door is open, ajar even. It's like you're learning all sorts of new words also when you're a kid listening to that.
Right. The problem with doing a look back at some of these character actors is trying to bring up intros that you could hear his voice in it, because that's basically what you want to do. Yeah. You want to hear the characters. All the intros are basically all musical. So a few of the clips that I pulled up are based on his documentary of Daws Butler himself. And because they are so long, we're going to chop them up and show what we can by backing it up with a lot of the photos. As you can see, Daws is in a picture here with I think Hanna-Barbera is in. Yeah, there's Hanna up at the top. Dark-haired guy up to the right. I think that's your right. I think that's Bob. And the other Barbera, I think, is sitting down on the floor. I think. I could be wrong. It could be him up there to the upper left. Either way. But a lot of the guys that got him in business, and he was actually, Dan Messick owes his career to Daws Butler because he recommended Dan Messick to play a character that obviously the producers had a hard time trying to fit, and Dan Messick was able to come up with those voices. It's nice that you can break up the voices of characters based on the voice actors, such as Daws and Mel. If you think of Mel, you think of Daws, you think of Dan Messick, you can pretty much tell who the characters they're in relation to. I think only the guy who voiced Fred Flintstone, I'm not sure he voiced anyone else, but I could be absolutely wrong on that. But
I
anyway,
don't know who else Alan Reed did.
Alan Reed, other than Fred Flintstone, you mean, right?
Right.
Let me look that up.
Yeah, that's that. Alan Reed, thank you for bringing up on that name there. But good morning once again to people that here are in the cartoon crew. Right now, I'm trying to get another camera up so I can show you guys something else. But in the meantime, if you kind of look through,
Alan Reed was actually a real life actor.
Yes, he was.
He was in Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yes, I remember that one. I don't remember the rest of them, but
he was Boris in Lady and the Tramp.
He really okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Touche Turtles, a sidekick, Dum Dum.
Oh, Touche Turtle and Dum Dum. Yes.
And he was the Keebler elf.
Oh, really? One of the elves?
Oh, I did not know
that. He was the elf.
He was the elf. That's right. Keebler only has one elf. I was probably thinking of. I don't know what else. I think I'm drinking.
Mad Dog Mahoney. He did the voice of a doll in Get Smart.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, anyway.
Okay, so yeah, that's good enough. And I think speaking of Daws had done so many characters that I wanted to show you guys a short clip from his documentary. The Many Voices of Daws Butler is basically, oops, come on, pull up. There you go, right there. For you guys, so bear with me as I get this all queued up. And what I'm going to do, because it is so long, I want you guys to, I'm going to cut it at some points and then start it back up again. We can see a few things on here and talk about it, and then we can go back to, sorry, Daws, I got to take you down, buddy, so I can put up your documentary here. But so those that remember Daws Butler, okay, and remember some of the voices, I'm sure you don't know it all, but it's interesting to listen to this guy because he was greatly associated with Beanie and Cecil when it was the live-action hand puppet show before it actually became the animated show. So a lot of people didn't realize that happened. So let's watch a little bit of Daws and let's get back to our discussion on him after I cut.
Well, that's close. No, Daws Butler is mine. My name is Huckleberry Hound. What? Huckleberry Hound. And I also am a bear. I'm Yogi Bear. Oh. And I'm a cat. Mr. Jinx is the name, and I like to chase those miserable misses, you know.
Yep, just the right setting for the nutritious breakfast you need. Right, it's gone. You can't get away with the crunch, because the crunch always gives you away. Aha!
By the way, Cat, just what is a family gradunza? I'll tell you this, it's not in the unabridged dictionary. But let's find that thing and get rid of that cat.
If Robin Hood were put alive today to help the poor woodland creatures from the hunter's gun, etc., etc. Heavens to Murgatroyd! Exit Marius Ever, stage left.
Correction, monsieur. I am not the auto mechanic. I am Loopy De Loop, the wolf. I, Loopy, do not think like other wolves. I am considerate, charming, helpful.
Oh, pleasure, Mary Popper.
You're our favorite person.
Millicent.
All we need is a big old fat pumpkin. What a pity. What a pity. It's the cruelest mean I've ever heard of.
Super banana.
Oh, that's good. I haven't slept for 4 nights. Can she put me to sleep? Mildred, put me to sleep.
But, Dad, you're not going to break your word, are you? Well, he can take you for healthy horseback rides, Flabby Dad. Can't you, Roscoe? Are you hurt? Tall in the saddle, Dad?
Ladies, thanks for the basket. Don't worry, I won't turn you in. They were two of the cutest little old ladies you ever saw, Boo. I guess they, just like bears. Maybe so, Boo. Boo. But I don't think it does a thing for me. Yay!
Oh, Pappy, we's chicken hogs. Why can't we have chicken?
'Cause there just ain't no chickens around here. That's why. Have some black-eyed peas, Elvis.
They don't even look like black-eyed peas, Papa.
Take another look, boy.
But I want to stay in business. How can I do it? Spend his profit on machinery? When does it all end?
I actually remember this character.
So do I.
That's the way it's done. I'll do it.
Esto es famosa. Muy plantistinco borracho.
I'm sore now, so I'm going to have to use my patented, never-fail, hippo, hurricane, howler.
Oh, I forgot he did that.
Doctor, I mean, don't feel so bad. With your talent, you can do big things.
My. Welcome to the land of expectations. To the land of expectations.
I forgot about that
We
one.
certainly don't get many travelers these days. Now, what can I do for you? I'm the weatherman. I must have your names before you can proceed. If you'll just tell me when you were born, where you were born, why you were born, how old you are, how old you were then, what grade you're in.
Welcome to you, your faithful dog, and that handsome gentleman. I'm so terribly happy to see all of you.
And what have we here? Ah, I see. Breakfast. An idea. If there's one thing I can't swallow, it's an idea.
We'll carry it, huh, Scooby-Doo? Okay, into the machine.
Drink.
One, two, and a Scooby-Doo.
Well, there you are, son. When I promises to take you on a picnic, I takes you on a picnic, right? That's my boy.
Now there is a dumb dog. Excuse me.
Oh, it's been a bad day, Ding, my friend. We found no food for our empty stomachs. We might as well go home. Could be trouble up ahead. One of those game wardens. Good day, sir. What is this notice I notice?
Okay, Martin.
And we shall pause. And I just wanted to show you guys a little bit. We're going to show you more. That is not the end of it. But Daws, as you can tell, is multi-talented. I have a friend who wanted to be a voice actor. And at some point, I think in my time growing up or whatever, I thought I wanted to be a voice actor too. Now, in interviewing to be a voice actor, you can't just have one voice to imitate. And I think that was probably my problem, that I was stuck with whatever. Hey, welcome to my world. Okay, now do a woman. Welcome to my world. You know, so these guys I got a lot of respect for, the versatility that they put themselves into, that they're capable of doing. Is just mind-boggling. Go ahead, Jerome. I know you got something.
I'm just laughing at what Dave said.
Dave? Oh, Scooby-Dum was better than Scrappy-Doo.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely,
Oh,
David.
he's making me choose. David, you suck. He's making me choose, man.
The beauty of guys like Daws and Mel and some of the others that have that wide range is they can hear inflections, okay, where you put pauses, where you emphasize certain syllables. They can also raise and lower the octaves of their voices.
Yes.
The note change. Musicians are very good at going from like a C to a D or a sharp to a flat or whatever. And voice actors have that same type of skill. Granted, some of them can't sing to save their lives, but they have that ability to change their voice enough that you, in a lot of cases, you can't recognize who that actor is from character to character. Now, the best was Mel, and we all agreed on that. But Daws is coming into a close second.
Yeah, I agree. And when I can respect someone's talent because I can't do it, you know, it's definitely deserved, because a lot of people want to try and imitate other voices or even, you know, things they've seen or whatever. Oh, I can do a backflip. Watch, I can do a backflip better than Biles. Watch this. Oh, "Ooh, man, he said it." You know. So, but literally to try to impersonate someone who just has mastered his larynx, okay, mastered his vocal cords, that he can make it perform to give him the outcome to make us think, oh, well, that's a different character we've never heard of before. That's fantastic. You know, that's my appreciation of Daws' talent. You know?
Yeah, Daws Butler actually taught people dialects.
Who's the most well-known person right now? What?
I said I know, but
wait. I asked Rose first. I'm going to see if she knows who is probably the most well-known voice actor of today. Okay, that Daws had actually taught how to do his job.
Well, I read about it, so it's Nancy Cartwright from.
Yay! You had somebody else.
Bart.
Fantastic, good job. Did you have somebody else in mind, Jerome, or was that who we were talking about?
No, that's who I was talking about.
Very good. Yes, Nancy Cartwright, who was Bart Simpson, was taught by Daws Butler. So I would have loved to sat in
20, 23, 25, 26 years strong.
Yes. And I would have loved to sat in that instruction process just so I can hear what he's trying to say. Some of the stuff I think you're going to hear when we continue. Excuse me, the video in a bit. But I always wanted to be a freaking. Good morning, Bonnie. How you doing, babe? I always wanted to be, a voice actor, and it's like I can't do any different. Can you, Jerome? Can you do anything? How about you, Rose? Can you do a voice? That's the word. Can you do a voice? Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, I can do a voice, but not very good.
Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Now appearing, Rosemary Rose as the character.
Oh, the only voices I do are like I have voices for my cat, so I do their voices. That's.
Well, that's what I do. You can go ahead and hairball me all you want. So let's hear it. Come on.
Oh,
come on. Let's hear it. I'm ready.
Where's the food? I don't know what my food is.
Oh my God!
I couldn't find it.
Make it stop. Oh my God! I think I got a hernia. Anyway, yes, Rosemary Rose. Yay, ladies and gentlemen. She'll never do that again. Cheryl says she can imitate some of our customers that call in work. Impolite, Cheryl. That's not right. Let's hear one. That's not good, Cheryl. You should never imitate people who are paying your salary. Okay, Jerome. Ladies and gentlemen, Jerome Connor shall now do a cartoon character impersonation.
No. Listen,
okay, hey, I got it.
I don't want your ears to bleed.
Now, wait a minute. Do Carol. Do Car.
You are really asking for me to die, aren't you? Okay. You really don't like me. I know you don't like me after a few things I've said. No.
Do Car.
Rose, it is obvious that this man is not married.
Yes, happily.
Yes, no blowback,
Yeah. Anyway, she's not watching this. So although
in case you didn't notice, we will be re-airing this show in a week or two on a YouTube channel, and she will hear this.
Yeah. Hanging with Web Show has now been fired, so this is the only time that you'll be able to do this. Good morning, Sage, Bonnie. Okay, Moshi's on. Okay, Moshi's on. Hello, Moshi. Good to see you, brother. And once again, if you did not know that Daws Butler was for a very, very long time the voice of Captain Crunch. One of my favorite cereals as a diabetic. So it's just incredible. But of course, you know him as both of these characters, believe it or not, which was Yogi Bear and Baba Louie. And I think he did the Ranger too.
I don't know. I have to think a second. Let me look.
You mean Boo Boo? You said Baba Louie. It's Boo Boo. The dog, the little bear's Boo Boo.
Oh, yes.
He made Baba Louie.
No, she corrected me. She's right. It is Boo Boo. Baba Louie is with Quick Draw McGraw. Yes, my bad. And which he did, character he did as well. But Daws Butler has just been so versatile, guys, in his career. I think he died, I lost his birth date, 88?
88, yes.
Okay, good. I remember that. He died in 88, and that's just one of the many voices that has passed. Basically, the voice actors that you see on animation today doesn't give us the flavor. I think the backwash, shall I say, the remembrance of those characters.
Well, I mean, you look at today's actors, okay, and nowadays we have the more famous actors doing voiceover work. My personal favorite being Mark Hamill's Joker.
Oh,
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
but
good point.
when Mark Hamill does his voice work, you can tell it's Mark Hamill.
Yes, that's
I mean, I
very
love
true.
Mark. Don't get me wrong. I am not criticizing Mark. I love the man. I want to meet the man. I want to give him a great big hug because of how much I love the work he's done. But you can tell it's Mark.
Yes,
you can
that's
tell
true.
when it's all these other actors doing it.
Yeah.
The days in back in the great days of the cartoons, it was hard to tell voice who it was.
I would think contemporary, maybe Tara Strong with her voiceover work.
Yes, I think you're right. Tara's a good choice there too. Yeah.
I agree. Tara Strong is a good voice, and like you said, Mark Hamill. We can tell when it's a Mark Hamill voice. Daws Butler, if you think of, okay, here's a good transition. The differences between Elroy Jetson's voice and Yogi Bear's voice.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's genius. It's like, oh my God, how do you do that? You know.
However, if you listen to Augie Doggy's son voice,
he sounds a little bit like
they're identical
Jetson.
almost.
Yes, I agree with you. Augie Doggy's son, Doggy Daddy. So he was Augie Doggy, and Dad was.
No, Dad was Augie Doggy, I thought.
No, Augie Doggy.
Wow, we're stumped.
Hang on a minute here.
I think it was Augie Doggy and son.
No, it was Augie Doggy and Doggy Daddy.
Yeah, okay, there you go. So it was Augie Doggy that Daws did, and it was Doggy Daddy.
Right.
Say that fast 3 times. David makes a good point here, guys, if you could read this. He says, Hank Azaria does many voices.
That's true. Hank is good too.
Yeah, he is. He was
really good.
Abu in The Simpsons. He's
Mr.
7-Eleven owner, right?
Yep. You know who's another good one? Jim Cummings.
Okay, give me an example because I'm not.
Darkwing Duck.
Oh, Darkwing Duck? Really?
Yeah. He did Darkwing Duck and he did a whole mess of the Disney Saturday morning stuff. But my point is but even the modern stuff, guys that we're talking about, still don't have the range of guys like Daws or Mel.
Daws, Mel, Dan Messick.
Exactly.
There were a bunch of guys. Who was Aesop? Who was that voice?
I'll find out. Hang on.
Daws did Aesop's son. But that Dad has a very well-known narrator's voice, I guess I should say.
All right, hang on a second here. I'll find out.
Yeah, so that's going to be... while you do that, I want to go ahead and read this quote by Daws. And he says, I want you to understand the words. I want you to taste the words. I want you to love the words.
Charlie Ruggles played Aesop.
Stay by. Because the words are important, but they're only words. You leave them on the paper, and you take the thoughts and put them into your mind, and then you, as an actor, recreate them as if the thoughts had suddenly occurred to you. That's a quote by Daws Butler, and that's very interesting what he said. You're right. I guess we're going to have to make love to the words, okay, before we want to imitate what we just read or execute what we just read. So that's pretty good. Everybody's saying yes, Doggy Daddy, which of course, thanks David and Mike, we got that one. And then Bonnie says Peter Cullen done a great job too. Is he Megatron?
I don't know.
I know Peter Cullen.
Bonnie, tell us what he's done, will you, when you get a chance?
Yeah, what did you find, Rose? Did you find anything?
I'm still looking.
Okay, very good. What we're going to do in the meantime, go ahead, Jerome. Sorry.
Okay, so you asked about Aesop. Okay, so Daws Butler did Aesop Jr., okay, Charlie Ruggles did Aesop, and then Edward Everett Horton did the narration.
Yes, I love Everett Horton. I actually saw him in a live-action movie before, and I can't remember, back in the 30s or maybe the 40s. I can't remember what it was, but he did play in a lot of movies back then. And what is David saying here?
Wow, he goes all the way back. He goes all the way back to the 1920s.
Who does?
Everett.
Yes, sounds about right. Yeah, because I'm seeing his face in my face. David says, did you see the interview where Azera is praising Mel Blanc? No,
yes, I have seen that.
Well,
I've
that's
seen that
interesting.
one.
I have not.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike, thank you for the Peter Cullen reference. Of course, he was Optimus Prime. Stupid me. How could I not know that? Thank you, Bonnie. You're late. But that's awesome. Very good. Thank you, guys. We're going to go ahead and watch a few more clips of Daws, a little bit more of what his claim to fame is.
Before we do that, I just want to say good morning to Richard, Russ, Dave, and Kathy.
Hey, Richard, Russ, Dave, and Kathy. Hello. Welcome, guys. Happy you're here. Enjoy us a little bit. We're not pros, but we do the best that we can. Here we go, guys.
We got enough chow for a week. Well, we better get going. Hey, Martin, why don't we just get rid of the cat?
Oh, yeah, Ralph. Why don't we just get rid of the cat?
Oh, I oughta...
Just set it down where I can reach it.
Did my spearfishing
Yes,
outfit scare you?
Blackstones.
Hiya, Fred.
And what are you made up for?
I'm gonna practice spearfishing.
Oh, you can't lose. You'll either spear them or they'll die laughing.
Now you've done it? Down! Down! Down, darn yarn! Something very magic about this ball of yarn. Between you and me, I think the Wicked Wazir is a wizard.
As the official judge, I unanimously declare that the winner of the first prize is Sweepy for his strongman float.
Wow! I hope All Spaceway has decided to merge with Cogswell's Cosmic Cogs, because if he don't, this place will wind up selling space cycles.
Only a couple, Mom. See, I'm trying to invent some tablets that'll make you fly. Gee, maybe I should cut down on the uranium mixture.
Whoa! Whoa there! Whoa! Easy does it!
Sometimes it just won't pay me no mind.
No time like the present for the present, Dixie. Merry Christmas, Mr. Jinx.
Like, gosh, fellas, and after all these years of me pursuing you with a broom, you shouldn't have.
You're so right.
Good gracious, Maggie. What are you wearing? Masquerade? Oh, dear. I'll put on my costume right away.
Caught you stealing a chicken, huh? If I catch you with another chicken, I'll clobber you by cracky.
Whoops! Oh, yes, magical. Off to See the Wizard is brought to you by... Tonight, friends, the Great Wizard of Oz will take us to the South Seas for our exciting story entitled Island of the Lost.
With the wizard as your guide!
What'll we do with all the empty space in the vault where the money used to be, Mr. Bank President?
Say, Quickstraw, look. I think that fellow is riding a rail.
Must be the poor feller can't afford a horse, Babalooey. It's no sooner said than don't. And don't you forget it.
Don't you
More
forget
tasty
it.
tasting raisins, huh? That's my scoop. And hey, I'm the newscaster. Wish I'd sung that.
I, Wally Gator, will break out of here if I have to break out with the measles. Surely Twiddle is just jesting. He better watch that creep before he falls asleep.
Oh, there you are. Hold. Here, Ducky. Don't be so jittery. To the King's rescue. Charge.
Captain Garley at your service, sir. My credentials.
You advertise for a first-rate pilot.
Sorry. Just a memento from my youth.
Drop anchor.
Aye, aye, Captain.
All right, men. We will build an oil derrick on this spot. Now get to work. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, we used to call him the oily bird. This time we're gonna do something about it, Chili.
Freaky.
Let's not wake up the bear, shall we?
No.
All right?
All right.
All right.
I better change the station.
Man, I had to stop it before I put a bullet to my brain.
The sound of your nightmares.
There is a clip, and I gotta find it, where Chili Willy is being served pancakes and butter, and his responses to the what is it, polar bear, whoever is serving them to, sent shivers down my spine. It's like, oh my God, stop talking. So anyway, so we'll watch a little bit more in a little bit, but in the meantime, this was a perfect stopping point right here on that. Jerome, you got anything?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that while these are not what we would call classics today, okay, like the Warner Brothers stuff that we've all come up with, we can all imitate them. These though stick in your mind. The moment you hear, Snagglepuss, or you hear Huckleberry or Yogi, you immediately know what that sounds like. You know immediately the catchphrase and the sound of Daws's voice on this, and that's why he's so memorable. It's just that it's for some reason he doesn't get the publicity that Mel got.
Let me ask you, how many of you guys here or in the Cartoon Crew room here has ever in your life said exit stage left or exit stage right, whichever one? Go ahead, Jerome.
Me, I have.
Yes.
I have two.
And how many of you guys have ever used the term smarter than the average bear?
Yes.
Yes, like where the hell did that come from? Because if we never heard it from Daws Butler, we would have never said anything like that in our life because it just didn't make any sense,
Yeah.
So it was Daws who, regardless of whether it was script or whether he impromptued it or not, it was those phrases, those slogans, those terms that stick with us in everyday life. It's like, hey, in fact, outside of Daws Butler and cartoons and whatever, he's about as smart as a box of rocks. Was that Foghorn Leghorn who said that? That boy's about as smart as a box of rocks. Or was it actually something in our society that we came up with?
No, that was Foghorn. That was Mel doing Foghorn Leghorn, where he goes, "That boy is smart as a bag of doorknobs."
And I've always said that boy is about as.
He's three.
I got it. That boy is about as sharp as a bowling ball.
There you go. That one, yeah. Your gums are flapping, son, but ain't hearing no voice.
Ain't hearing nothing coming out. Oh my God, we got to do a Foghorn Leghorn show.
Heaven's the Murgatroyd.
Heaven's the Murgatroyd.
I still use that.
I have no idea what that means.
Heaven's the Murgatroyd.
Heaven's the Murgatroyd. Who the hell's Murgatroyd? That was pre-Transformers age, I guess. I don't know.
Susie's done the whole theater exit stage left. What's funny is when I was a kid, okay, and and when you're in like elementary or junior high or whatever, everybody plays with stage work. Everybody at some point or another wants to be the great actor. Okay. Yes. And when you're up on stage and you're trying to understand stage left and stage right, because if you watch Snagglepuss, when he goes exit stage left, he's actually moving to the right for him.
Yes.
But to the audience, it's to the left.
Right.
And that was how I learned the difference between stage left and stage right, was watching Snagglepuss.
Same here. Sage wants to mention something that we've already talked about. Shame on you, Sage, for not listening. She says, what about Oh My Darling Clementine? Huckleberry Hound kept that song going. Yes, he did, and always off key.
And he never sang it all the way through. He always kept singing the same lyric.
No, because he didn't know the rest of the song. He was just like me. He was my hero, but I usually just hum the hell out of anything.
He hummed it. He hummed it a lot.
Anyway, so Daws Butler is what we're discussing here. Hey, guys, want to make note here that we are on the HWWS network, which is Hanging with Web Show network, where you can catch last week's broadcast, and this week's broadcast will show next week. So tell your friends if you've seen something that we've done interesting and funny, that you know where to focus them to. So make sure you go to the HWWS on YouTube and that network, and you'll find our show. As we're going, still talking about Daws, we're not ending the show yet, but what were we doing next week, guys?
We're doing our Halloween special.
Next week is the Halloween special.
That's right. It's the Halloween special.
You guys always on Saturday now, so it won't be on Halloween, but it will be our Halloween special show. And you've got to come see our Halloween special show. I think we're going to have some really, really creepy stuff.
Yes. Mark will not comb his hair. That'll be creepy alone.
I won't comb my hair. I just saw a clip of Vincent Price when he was on The Tonight Show, but it was being hosted that time by Joan Rivers. And Vincent Price said his entire narration to Michael Jackson's Thriller right there in that chair. They dimmed the lights, they did some background music or whatever, and he laughed so maniacally at the end. They were going to commercial, and he was still laughing. So, I thought it was brilliant. So if you guys go on YouTube and try to find Vincent Price on The Tonight Show, he really recites his entire passage on the, oh dear God, what did Bonnie just put up? I can't read from Jam on it. Oh man, this is too funky for me. I'm going home. Hey, Murgatroyd, let's go. Hey, you fellas, see my sister Murgatroyd. She was standing over here just a minute ago. Yeah, I think I saw her over there with Randy. What the hell is this? The mic, you know. No, that is not where it came from. If you're answering our question on where did Heavens the Murgatroyd come from, only because Jam on It is a song that's way forward of when, who did it? Wally Gator or somebody?
No, it was
Bonnie, shame. Do your homework, dear. But nice try. So anyway,
we still love you.
We do. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, so all these characters that Daws Butler game, I actually was a fan of Quick Draw McGraw and Baba Louie, and it was a few of these Hanna-Barbera characters that was not in, let's say, the forefront, but even being like, what's the cat's name?
Jinxie.
Okay, and had the two mice, and of course we see Snagglepuss, which was in fact a mountain lion, which is really interesting.
I never knew it was a mountain lion.
Yes, and it's interesting that he's pink.
Well, I think I got to check the date on Snagglepuss. Okay, but I found out about Murgatroyd.
Okay.
Murgatroyd is the surname of a constable in Yorkshire in 1371.
Ha! Bonnie, you weren't born.
Okay, now Snagglepuss is the one who came up with that. That's where they came up with that. And he was 1962, debuted in prototype form in 1959, and established as a studio regular in 1962, which has me thinking Pink Panther, that they wanted to do something with Pink Panther, because it's about the same time the Panther was coming out.
Very interesting.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
There you go. Yeah. See, Bonnie. It's good. Anyway, so
we love you, Bonnie.
Daws even did some soundtracks. Now, there, along with Dan Messick, actually, I think it was Don Messick. He did some soundtracks. You know, back when we knew of the comedy albums, let's say, Daws and Dan or Don or whatever were involved in comedy albums as well, and they were comedy albums back in the 50s. I think, and one of them being, of course, Huckleberry Hound, but he did other comedy albums. And I think when we get back to this interview clip, I'm going to show you guys, because right now we're showing all animation. There are some live action interviews of Daws Butler and things that he was involved in. He explains a little bit about how he got involved in voice acting, who actually opened doors for him back then, and of course, how he became his most famous character, which was, of course, Yogi Bear, in my personal opinion. So we'll try. Hey guys, I want to thank you guys for joining us once again. For those that don't know, this is Saturday Morning Cartoons. We try to do this each and every Saturday. And Jerome and Rose, remind me, after our Halloween special next weekend is what?
Sugary cereals.
Oh yes, that's Jerome.
Yes, I will have that. By the way, I'll have that ready for you by Monday.
No problem. We got time on that. But sugary cereals, probably what made me diabetic in the first place, were them damn things that I was eating while I'm enjoying Saturday Morning Cartoons. So just. I'm not bitter. No, I'm not bitter at all.
I regret nothing.
Yeah, I regret nothing. Yes, okay. We're all gonna die of something. You know, at least I'll have a smile on my face. Okay, we gotta go through this torture session for a bit.
Uh-oh.
So
I better go tell Maxie. Maxie, wake up. Some people have come. They're gonna build oil well. No time for jokes, Maxie. Last time man put up oil well, it sprung a leak.
Snooper Detective Agency, Snoop speaking. You saying your parents been birdnapped? And you'll pay me 1,000 pieces of 8 if I find them?
Sounds like a 603, Snoop. A good private eye. That can speak several languages.
Fire department. Fireman Huckleberry speaking.
Bye, Bonnie.
Right.
Oh, my
Said
darling.
dog chased
Oh, my
the kitty up
darling.
a tree. Yo, don't you fretting on ma'am. I'll get that cat down in a hurry. Fire department to the rescue again.
Come on. I'm gonna teach you tricks if it takes all night. Hi, Mule. Hello, Mule. Hi. He's silly looking. Let me carry him. I want to carry him. Hey, fellas, look.
Animal
a dog
abuse.
with a blue face.
Well, that's okay with me, 'cause I'm not a dog neither. I'm really another little boy having a dream.
Yes, Sarge.
Investigate riot at Fifth and Stone Canyon.
Right, Sarge. Over and out. Let's go, Pete.
She looks like Wilma. Don't scare easy, Fred. We've been waiting 15 minutes, and she ain't rushed out looking for you yet. Oh, no, Fred. I, just been going out too much lately. I think you want to stay home, too, Fred.
For heaven's sake, why'd you have to get me up so early? Why? Oh, no, you don't. Why does a ghost have to learn to drive?
Gently. Yes,
Hair
sir.
bear
I'm gonna have
punch.
to tell the super to come more often to see
I
how
watched
nice
that.
you treat us bears. I'm afraid y'all missed the big toe. Quit your blubbering, blubber. That ain't a two-fisted thing to do. Well, you gotta admit, the blubber's good. Not the
Sounds like John Wayne.
Now listen, Kent.
Yes.
All you gotta do is tell me where your secret treasure is buried, and I'll let you go. You can't do that. He's just a little bitsy kid. See what you'll get for being nasty?
Artie, I think we got ourselves a housekeeper job. Oh, could you use a good cook?
Say hello to the nice man, Junior.
How about a sappy hat? Hi, Alice. What do you hear from Joe? Thank you. A little for me.
Because we're the best. Because of all his exploration squads, we're the brave.
Let me stop this for a second. Can you guys imagine being at the bar with Mel Blanc, Daws Butler, okay, Don Messick, even June Foray, and literally can't get in a word edgewise?
Who would want to? I mean, my God, they basically, I've met a couple of voice actors, okay, and when they're talking, they actually don't like to do the voice actors because their voice is their tool, right?
Yes.
But
yes.
I will say this: you pop a few drinks in them, and they start trying to outdo each other. That's what I want. Is I want to be at the bar after they've had a few drinks.
Yeah.
I'll sit in the corner. I'll watch. I won't say a word.
Yep. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I mean, and that's what you really want. You want to watch these guys when they've had a few too many, because then they'll start, and it'll get blue. By the way, it'll get really blue. Okay. So,
yeah, I am doing a search of that frightful Chili Willy pancake session. I can't seem to find it.
All right, hang on a second here.
Well, while you're doing that, I found this really cool article about Nancy Cartwright and how she ended up becoming a student of Daws Butler.
Please.
Yeah, this is by Joanna Clay. This is back from 2017, an article where apparently Nancy Cartwright, she was working at a radio station, and she met somebody from Warner Brothers. And the lady gave her a list of names of people who worked in the voice acting field. And the only one that had a phone number was Daws Butler. So she called up the phone number, and there was a British accent on the answering machine. So she answered back in the same British accent. So Daws Butler called her back, and she was still working in Ohio. So he sent her he'd sent her clips for her to practice and do, and it was just like, from far away, he became her mentor, and until she finally was able to move out to California.
Wow.
Nice.
Very, very cool. That was pre-Simpsons era. So,
yep.
Have you ever seen her in person? I mean, not in person, but have you ever seen her unanimated?
She's short.
I have.
Yeah. And she's blonde. And a lot of people didn't realize that the voice of Bart Simpson was from the voice of a female, voice of a woman. But then again, June Foray voiced Rocky the squirrel.
Yep.
Okay, and we never knew what gender that was either at that time, even with the term
a girl voiced the voice of Charlie Brown at the Charlie Brown Christmas special.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So,
I sent you a link, Mark.
They hire a lot of women to do young boys' voices.
Yeah, I heard you, Jerome. I'm searching.
It's on the Facebook Messenger.
Yes, I got too many screens open here, so this is going to go slow.
Yeah, you're right. Rose. Yeah, a lot of those young boys definitely done by girls, because guys' voices get deeper as we get older.
Yes,
right.
And that's what they're looking for, that higher pitched voice for the young boys.
Not mine. My voice sounds absolutely fine. I think I've spoken like this my entire life. So
unloosen the clamps.
Well, wait a minute.
It sounds a little bit like Rocky. But like when he's had a hard night.
Wait a minute. Like what?
Like Rocky.
Yeah, like Rocky Squirrel.
I do. Oh, very good. Okay. Anyway, that is more of my voice impersonation, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we're gonna wrap up shortly. We're still doing good, but I want to try and show you guys at least. Oops, that's the wrong clip. I'm sorry, that's the wrong click. Show you guys a little bit of Daws Butler in the flesh, but I'm gonna have to. Let's see. Here we go. Here. Let's see if I can get this up here. I hope you guys are enjoying the show. Like once again, we do this every weekend, or at least some weekends when at least somebody's in town. And I bet you any amount of money I'm going to freeze up my computer. I bet you.
Well, we had our technical problem pre-show.
Yeah.
So maybe
better pre-show
maybe
than during on the air.
Yeah. I like to also offer to our viewers out there, in the month of November, we're going to have guest hosts, one at a time, of course. Can't have a bunch of you on, and we have maybe one or two, people that are chosen, and with the help of wrong finger, with the help of Spock here. You guys do know that Spock.
They can't. I'll tell you right now, you can't tell that that's Spock from where.
Really? You can't.
No,
you can't tell.
You can't.
That's because he's black, right? That's why.
No.
Okay. Where you go? Wait a minute.
There you go.
There you go. There's my Spock. He gives me my reason and my logic.
Yes.
Yeah.
You might want your money back.
And my logic for the month. Okay, guys, my money back. Where'd you go, Spock? There you go. My logic for next month is that.
Oh no! You killed Spock! Oh, you killed him!
Stupid Vulcan. Stand up. Okay. All right. Stand up for your rights. There you go. Next month we're going to have guest hosts, and basically the show is going to be based on what your choices are. We want you to pick a number of choices and not just one, because we don't want to feel that we're locked in to have to do your show. Okay, and we don't want to. But anyway, so we're going to have guest hosts, and we want you guys to think about joining us. Think of a show, a cartoon, a voice actor.
Here's the thing. You don't even have to join us if you want to think of a show, because you don't want to be seen on the World Wide Web. Just send us say, hey, how about a show on this? We'll do the research.
Yes, that's fine. And it's basically suggestions. So if you guys have shows that you want to hear in the future, just give us suggestions. But we're going to have a couple people on with us from their home because they ain't coming to mine. And you hook up and get online, get on board with us to the show. We're going to talk about things that, you know, maybe we haven't thought of. God, I think we covered the whole freaking cartoon world, if you ask me. But
no, we still got more to do.
Yeah, try to keep it in the. If you do a show on Teletubbies, you die. If you do a show on Cabbage Patch Dolls, you die. Okay, if you do any of those kind of stupid shows,
but Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers is acceptable.
We can do one of those shows ourselves if nobody. Thanks for giving them a suggestion. If nobody comes up with anything like that, so that's good. I want you guys to watch a little bit of Daws Butler here. Where's the sound?
I don't know. Where'd you lose it?
Go on mute.
Basket. Don't worry, I won't turn you in.
It's sing-along time.
Hey, quick, Straw. Don't you think I can come out now? Uh-oh, I don't think so.
I got it! I got it!
Got it.
Hello, young waffle lovers, wherever you are. Professor Goody here, high up in this bell tower.
These characters' voices and dozens of others loved worldwide are all the work of one talented gentleman whose career spans 50 years and encompasses virtually every...
Anybody know that voice?
His name, Daws Butler, voice magician.
Here it comes.
Well, the way the whole thing started, I think I was kind of a shy kid, which I don't think will be too apparent after this interview.
Charles Dawson Butler, a shy kid from Chicago, got his show business start in school by being a playground comic, imitating his teachers and generally trying to deal with his shyness. Eventually, in the 1930s, he teamed up with two friends to become the Three Short Waves. The trio toured the Midwest, working the nightclubs and theaters.
What's wrong with that title?
Although Daws loved to write, he had been reluctant to perform. He didn't know how good he was.
And we worked together, and I learned an awful lot about show business, especially from the wiser heads who would advise me, tell me what I was doing wrong, why I didn't get a laugh. And I began to see what timing was. And while the other two guys were chasing the girls, I would go and stand in the wings and watch comics who were on the bill every show to see how, no matter how big the audience was, they'd always get their laugh. It was like fishing. They'd come home with something, you know. And so that was very good. And I also found a great kindness in them. They were willing to advise and to answer questions if I asked them.
Doing impersonations of Groucho Marx, Joey Brown, and Edward G. Robinson gave Daws great pleasure. One of his favorites was his idol, George Arliss.
Arliss was great. I mean, the kids today don't even know who he is, but once in a while on late TV, you'll see him. But he had a sort of an angular face. Mine was round. And so by putting my tongue in my lower lip, I could look like him. And by hooding my eyes a little bit, gave the look. By slumping my shoulders a little, by getting a laxity in my hands that made them old. And I did a scene so that... and it also gave me the voice. That was the fantastic part. Because to do it, I would have to go, "Come close to me, my sons, and listen to the words of your father. One son must go to Germany, one to France, and the other to England. Remember, in unity, there is strength. We are the house of Rothschild."
Daws discovered that if you could look and sound like the character you were doing, you could be the character.
And that's why I really got onto the idea of retaining all of that and doing it with voiceover. Nothing changed, except you were only hearing my voice. So it was like going to Harvard. I mean, that was it. Those few years in the nightclubs and the theaters gave me the stability and the knowledge to go ahead and take it in any direction I wanted to. So it happened to be voiceover, and that's where I spent the rest of my career.
Daws spent World War II in the Navy in Washington, where he met his beautiful wife, Myrtis. The lady Daws calls his staunchest supporter and most devoted friend.
And then we came out here after the war, and I stumbled into radio. I'd never done radio back in Chicago or any of the Middle West or the South, but I had worked on microphones microphones. I was even working on mic technique when I was on a nightclub floor or a theater, because it was a different type of mic. They aren't as sharp as they are today, but I realized that if I was doing a voice that was a little huskier than mine, I could get very close to it, and it would give me a better sound, and so on. So I was learning that too, but almost without knowing it. It was just that somehow I had to address that huge audience, that big theater, and get the tonality I wanted. All of my theories about if you could look like him, you could sound like him, carried over into character work.
And that ability to do characters got Daws many radio shows.
Anyway, after doing radio for quite a while, playing on some very big shows, The Whistler, Suspense, you know, in a year or two. I mean, it was fantastic. Actually, a year. And suddenly I was doing these big shows. And then after that was established, and I had a little money coming home, why, somebody said, why don't you go out to MGM? There's a guy out there named Tex Avery, great director.
Tex Avery was one of the several now legendary animation directors at Warner Brothers and MGM in the 1930s and 40s. His cartoons were timed out using a metronome. This appreciation of comic timing greatly appealed to Daws.
And I worked with Tex for probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 years at least, and did maybe 15 or 20 cartoons for him. Learned a lot. And also an interesting thing about comedy, and that is you laugh at the timing. There are many things of Tex's that I was in, things I wasn't in, but Tex's cartoon.
I'm going to stop this only because I need to advance it to what I considered the creepiest thing that I've ever heard. And I want you guys
that thing a lot for you.
All I want you guys to concentrate on are the responses by Chilly Willy. Okay, just concentrate on the responses, please. Let me see if I can find this. It was at the 2020. Okay, let's go back to let's just do this. Oh, yeah, because I got Woody Woodpecker.
That was quite an experience, and I got to do some good things, I think. It got it out of my system. I think it reached the point where, at that time, the agencies kind of respected us for the knowledge that we had accumulated, and we had sort of a free hand. It was fun. We could get the gag and go with it, and not have to do too much hard sell. There's a lot of hard sell now.
Guess who?
Walter Lantz, the creator of Woody Woodpecker, teamed up with Daws in the early 1950s, and Daws became the voice of Chilly Willy.
Daws was really had a talent that you could use him for anything. If you needed a voice, Daws could do it. And in those days, we used them for many different voices in the Woody Woodpecker cartoons.
I was doing all this supporting characters for Woody. I was doing the heavies, the announcer, the narrator, whatever. I do 5 or 6 characters in one cartoon all around Woody, you see. And Gracie was wonderful to work with, and we had a great rapport, and very supportive. And Walter liked to direct the shows, and he was like Jay Ward or Joe Barbera. They really loved it. They'd make us do it over just to hear it again. You know, we were like their toys.
The Chilly Willy cartoons were really the best characters, I think, that Daws did for me. In fact, Chilly Willy didn't speak in about the first 8 or 10 cartoons. And I thought, well, it might be a good idea if we get the right kind of voice for Chilly and give him a little more character. So I asked Daws, would he take a shot at it? So Daws tried it, and I liked it very much.
It was one of the highest voices I think I ever did for a character, and it enhanced it somewhat, but even mute, Chilly Willy to me was a great character, and he was always playing tricks on the dog. He usually was pretty succinct. He would say,
I'm very cold. I'm cold. I want to go inside. I want to be warm. Oh, gosh, the snow is coming down.
So he had to articulate and all that.
But a very high voice and very quick. And that's where you moved. It was very much. That's where you get a voice, by the action.
And I'd seen it for years, so it wasn't too hard to put a voice to it.
Daws did the voices for both.
Here we go.
Nice?
Nice.
You like?
I like.
More butter?
More butter?
More syrup?
More syrup?
Nice?
Very nice.
Plenty butter?
Plenty butter?
Plenty syrup?
Plenty syrup?
Good?
Very good.
You like?
I like.
Okay.
Okay.
More butter?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That ain't funny.
Daws is such a good actor. In fact,
Those are
he's an
expensive
actor.
pancakes.
He's an actor to really do a good voice.
Yeah.
Voice artists are not someone that just
Very
in a
creepy.
voice. You got to play that character, like my wife Gracie, who does Woody Woodpecker. She made an actor out of Woody, and that's why he caught on so well. You know?
I think we get the hint, Mark.
Characters I've ever done in the Walter Lantz cartoons.
Hold on,
And in
guys.
many cases, they were only in one cartoon. But it was that the writing called for a...
It was back to 1963, and we made 24 films. And Janet Waldo and Jean Vanderpyle and Mel.
The few series featured Bill Scott as Bullwinkle, June Foray as both Rocky the Flying Squirrel and Natasha, and Paul Frees as the dastardly Boris Badenoch. And I had the pleasure of narrating the Rocky and Bullwinkle series, and I never talked so fast in my life. And I loved it. It was a lot of fun.
All right, that's a good stopping point there. So a little bit more on Daws Butler here, guys. We try to, I mean, we could go on forever with Daws just as well as we can go on forever with everything else that we've ever done.
Oh, dear Lord, yes.
On this show. But in the meantime, I think we're probably good to end. But in the meantime, let me go ahead and shoot this boy back up on the screen.
Well, before we go, there's some voices that didn't have that weren't really mentioned on the show today.
Oh, please.
And he did a bunch of the voices for Wacky Races.
Oh, yes, he did.
Rock Slag, Big Gruesome, Sergeant Blast, Peter Perfect, and Rufus Roughcut. And he was also on the Banana Splits doing the voice of Bingo.
Oh, he was Bingo. Bingo was the gorilla, right?
Yes, he was.
Wow, yes. Now I recall it. I hear his voice now. It's Bingo. Yes, yes. He did a country voice, almost like a Huckleberry Hound, kind of like, but a little faster and higher. So, yeah, I remember. Excellent. Excellent. Good to hear. Okay, so look, you guys that were watching today, once again, and we say this each and every week, each and every show. Let me take you down for a bit here. This is our Saturday morning cartoons. We're not professionals at this. We do it for fun. We do, except Jerome. We're not professionals except for Jerome. And we do this for fun.
Hey, the check bounced, by the way.
We're not paid professionals doing this. We do this for fun. And it's based on our childhood. It's based on your childhood. Each and every week, we just want to bring things up that you guys obviously remember. If we strike a chord with you, that was our intention in the first place. You grew up watching 60s, 70s, 80s cartoons. They are no longer on TV. What you're seeing on television these days is a little bit of a disappointment. There's some animation that surfaces to the top, and we honor that and we salute that as well. But there was never eras, okay? Eras, 60s, 70s, 80s, where cartoons were just fantastic. Over
it was
the top.
A golden age.
It was consistent. It was when and how we grew up. We would invite or implore that you bring your children along with you to watch these shows because they may ask you afterwards, "Ooh, I want to see that. How can I see that?"
Hey, I got my daughter hooked on Scooby thanks to our show.
Hey, there you go. And what better show to be hooked on but Scooby, right?
Yeah,
right, exactly.
It's fantastic. So, like I said, we're not professionals. We try our best. Luckily, we have an outlet where we can go ahead and put these shows.
And we learned something too. We learned something too. We by doing this research, we find out stuff, and we love to share it with you about the voices and the background of some of these animators along the way.
Well, we learn from you guys just as much as we do our research, and we don't do have total research on every show that we do. You guys have educated us, and we try to show you guys probably some things that you didn't know either. So that is going to be a closing to our show, but I want to make everybody aware that we do have at least not two more final shows, but at least two more scheduled shows, two more shows that we've actually said, yeah, let's do that. And we can tell the people before Tuesday or anything like, whatever it is when we start announcing when we do shows. And guys, can you tell our audience once again what we are doing for next week and the week after?
We have our Halloween special.
Yeah, what's the title for that? Do we have a full title for that yet?
I think that was
Holotunes.
Holotunes or something like that.
Just Holotunes. Yeah. Holotunes. That's pretty good. And what do we got a week after that, Jerome? I think
we haven't come up with a title yet, but it's basically the subject is going to be that sugary cereal that you ate while you watched those cartoons. You know, the ones that had so much sugar in it, your eyes went. Ah!
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But that is a time when you guys can relate to us the cereals that you basically grew up with, which was Quake and Quisp, if you remember that.
Oh, more than that, my friend. I've been doing research.
He's got a list.
I have box of cereals in the other room.
Oh no, you're actually gonna give us freaking diabetes through the screen?
Well, somebody has to.
I mean, I don't know how you can do that, but we're definitely looking forward to that. Yeah. Once again, the Sages, the Annas, the Susies, the Bonnies, it's too many to name right now, but everybody that joined us in the cartoon crew, people that are actually watching us, but they're not engaged in our social media portion of this show. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to go ahead and sign out.
Thank you to those who are in the watch parties.
Oh, the watch party people.
You know, thank you for coming and playing with us there.
Thank you so much, guys. And we will see you guys soon. So somehow I can get this up on the screen. Let's try this again.
Have a great weekend. For those in Florida, stay dry.
Hold on, I'm not done yet. Oh yeah, stay dry, Florida. Hold on, I'm not done yet. I'm trying to. Oh no, let's just cancel that.
He is done.
Put that up. Hold on. This is coming up. There you go. That way you can see who the hell we are, as if you really care. Thank you, guys.
Jeez, I was going for the anonymous host.
Thank you, Cheryl.
I love Cheryl. Cheryl, change your freaking icon.
Oh no,
there.
that's perfect for next week.
No, she's scaring me. She's scaring me. Okay, so change that, and then maybe I can sleep at night.
Thanks, Garrett.
Hey, Garrett, buddy boy. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Bye,
we will see you next time. Excellent. Stage left.